Today I'm going to talk about special products, and in order to talk about special products, we're going to review the FOIL method, because if you remember, when you times two binomials together, you can FOIL. And remember, that stands for firsts, outsides, insides, lasts, when we're timesing two binomials. And basically, what I'm going to show you is a couple shortcuts you can use, but remember, you can always FOIL to get your answers. So first, let's just review FOIL. So my first terms, x times x, is going to give me x squared. My outsides, x times negative 5, so negative 5x. Insides, 5 times x, positive 5 times x, is 5x. And my lasts, positive 5 times negative 5, which is negative 25. And then what we're going to find is our two middle terms can be combined, but those are just going to cancel each other out. So what we're left with is x squared minus 25. And this is actually something we call the difference of two squares, and it's going to be an important thing that we can pick out in a section that we'll be talking about here in the near future. So what's the shortcut? Well, if you notice what we started with, we had the same exact thing, except for the only difference between these two was one was a plus and one was a minus. So the x was the same, it was x, and then there was a 5 and a 5. The only difference is the plus and the minus. Whenever you have that, basically what you can do is just take your first two terms, so x and x, get x squared times those, and then your last two, 5 times negative 5, and get negative 25. Okay, so that's the shortcut, and we'll use that directly here on number 2. And you can certainly use that, but remember, you can always just go with the FOIL method too if you don't catch that. So it'll always work out, or it will always work out. So looking at number 2, we do have that situation. We have 2y and 2y. We have a 4 and a 4. The only difference being a negative 4 and a positive 4, or a plus and a minus is the only thing that makes those different. So since we have that situation, we can take our shortcut and just go 2y times 2y, which is 2 times 2 is 4, y times y is y to the second. And then I can take negative 4 times positive 4, which is negative 16, and we would be done. So if you happen to notice that, you can definitely use that shortcut. So that is one example of a special product that we'll run into. The other special product that we'll talk about, and this is the only other one we'll talk about this year, is when you have something that's squared, a binomial that's being squared. So secretly, this is actually a binomial times a binomial. So, because remember, when you square something, you're actually taking that thing times itself twice. So x minus 7 times x minus 7. And if we FOIL this thing out by going first, so x times x, outsides, negative 7 times x, insides, negative 7 times x, and last, negative 7 times negative 7, we get this. Again, we can combine those two middle terms. So this becomes x squared minus 14x, negative 7 minus 7, we get a bigger negative, plus 49, and this would be our answer. So again, you can always use the FOIL method. However, when you're squaring a binomial, there is a shortcut that we can take. So whenever you run into this situation, here's what you can do. You can take your first term and square it, so you get x squared. You can take your last term, negative 7, and square that. Now you do have to be careful, because that means negative 7 times negative 7, which is positive 49. And I'm leaving the middle open because, and this is the rule, the part of the rule that's a little bit more confusing, but what you would do for the middle piece is take x times negative 7, which is negative 7x, and double that. And if we take 2 times negative 7, that's where we get that negative 14x. And there we go. So that's another route we can look at. So if we're going to strictly just use the shortcut on the last one here, we are squaring a binomial. What I could do is take y times y, which is y to the second, take 10 times 10, or 10 squared, and get 100. and then take 10 times y, which is 10y, and double that, and we get 20y. And that would be our shortcut. Again, you could FOIL it, take y plus 10 times y plus 10 and FOIL. But these are the special products that we'll be discussing for the rest of this year when they do pop up.